Most of us agree that society needs laws. It turns the things we should and shouldn't do into duties we must perform and crimes we mustn't commit. In theory, it is a simple idea. Laws are passed by Parliament and enforced by the police. If a person breaks them, they are convicted and punished with a fine or a prison sentence. But in practice, it is much more complicated. There are thousands of legal statutes that govern everything from major crimes to minor misdemeanours. While most of these are both sensible and necessary, some can be a little strange. In the UK, for example, it's illegal to wear a suit of armour in the Houses of Parliament, thanks to a law that's over 700 years old. In the US state of New Hampshire, it has been a crime to collect seaweed at night since 1973. And in Singapore, residents can't buy chewing gum without a medical prescription. These are all real laws. They were proposed by politicians, debated in parliaments, and passed by national, federal, and local governments. But bizarre laws like these are actually relatively rare. More often than not, the problem is with how a law is interpreted. Take Italy, for example. A few years ago, visitors and locals were being terrified by the local authorities. In Capri, tourists were cautioned for wearing excessively loud flip-flops. In Milan, a couple were fined £100 each for sitting in the shade of a statue. And in Eraclea, a small seaside town near Venice, holidaymakers were banned from building sandcastles, a crime punishable with a £200 fine. Originally, these laws were enacted to combat things like vandalism and noise pollution, but overzealous local officials took things a little too far. Absurd interpretations of the law are not limited to Europe. In America, where each state can pass its own laws, people could be apprehended for all kinds of odd misdemeanours if the law is read in a certain way. People often claim, for example, that it is illegal to make funny faces at police dogs in Oklahoma. However, this isn't strictly true. The law actually states that people mustn't torment police dogs. This was intended to ban people from acting aggressively or violently towards the animals. But as torment could mean anything from torture to pulling funny faces, a myth was born. Other popular myths often arise from ancient laws that linger in the public's imagination. In the UK, one of the most persistent of these concerns this: the humble mince pie. Although the mince pie is a traditional Christmas treat, many people believe it's actually illegal on the day itself. And it was. Once. In 1644, the 25th of December fell on a day of fasting, making it illegal to eat anything, including mince pies. 3 years later, in 1647, the new Republican government passed a law that made all festivals, including Christmas, illegal. This didn't specifically ban mince pies, but they were a festive symbol and so shouldn't have been eaten. However, when the king returned in 1660, these laws were dismissed, and today we can all eat mince pies without fear of punishment. Across the world, there are all kinds of strange laws, as well as bizarre legal interpretations, and many myths and legends. In the end, it can be difficult to know what is illegal and what isn't. But one thing is certain, in a world full of laws and regulations, sometimes we just need to use a little common sense.